of what turned out to be a Soviet missile launch site in western Cuba. The pictures were shown to U.S. President John F. Kennedy. On October 22, Kennedy delivered a televised address to the nation, including announcing a complete naval blockade of Cuba starting October 24. On October 15, the U.S. president placed the country's armed forces on DEFCON-2. The situation was getting increasingly dangerous hour by hour. Washington threatened with a full-scale invasion of Cuba, while Moscow pledged to respond. The tensions reached their zenith on October 27, the day called Black Saturday, when a S-75 air defense missile shot down a U-2 spy plane over Cuba. Many specialists believed that on that day the chance of a full-scale nuclear conflict was real as never before and after in history. Copyright Wikipedia. U.S. Navy photographer. Soviet submarine B-59, forced to the surface by U.S. naval forces in the Caribbean near Cuba. However, the incident had a sobering effect for both Washington and Moscow. In the early hours of October 28, Robert Kennedy, the brother of President Kennedy, met Soviet ambassador to the U.S. Anatoly Dobrynin and gave him guarantees from the U.S. government that Washington would not attack Cuba. Later in the day, Soviet Defense Minister Malinovsky ordered to begin dismantling the missile sites on the island. On November 20, the last Soviet missiles were removed from Cuba and President Kennedy ordered the blockade to be lifted. A few months after, the U.S. withdrew the Jupiter missiles from Turkey and the crisis was finally resolved. There are still a lot of blank pages in the history of the Cuban Missile Crisis. In September 2017, the Russian Defense Ministry released information regarding Soviet military casualties during the confrontation and after the crisis. According to the documents, 64 Soviet nationals were killed on Cuba in the period between August 1, 1962 and August 16, 1964. The document, however, provided no further details.